All right, y'all are good to go.
Hallelujah. Thank you. Very much apologize for various delays we've had today, mostly technical. This is welcome to the regular board meeting of the Board of Directors of the East Bay Regional Park District. We're meeting on August 9, 2022 and beginning close to 2 o'clock. I would ask the clerk of the board to call the roll of the board.
Yes, President Coffey. Ms. Robinson, could you put yourself on mute? I can't seem to put you on mute. Director Lane.
Present.
Director Wieskamp.
Present.
Director Corbett.
Here.
Director Rosario.
Here.
General Manager Landreth.
Here.
General Counsel Burgo.
Present.
General Manager, excuse me, Assistant General Manager Cook. Assistant General AGM Chiobaro. AGM O'Connor.
Here.
AGM Ocker.
Here.
AGM Kelchner.
Here.
AGM Casavam.
Here.
And I think did I miss anybody?
President Coffey.
And President Coffey.
Here.
Thank you. The most important person in the room. Thank you
Oh,
very
I
much.
wish that were true. All right, let's move to the Pledge of Allegiance. I've asked Director Rosario to lead us this afternoon.
Thank you. Please stand.
All right, thank you, Director. I want to acknowledge our Indigenous lands, the peoples who came before us. The East Bay Regional Park District's headquarters is located within the Hushun territory on the unceded lands of the Ohlone Chicheno-speaking peoples. They've continuously lived upon this land since time immemorial. The lands now encompassed within the boundaries of the East Bay Regional Park District are the ancestral territories of the Ohlone, the Bay Miwok, and the Delta Yokut. Today's Ohlone, Bay Miwok, and Delta Yokut people are thriving, vital members of the Greater Bay Area community, and we continue to gain and follow their input on the stewardship of these lands. They remain intrinsically connected to the land that they have stewarded since time immemorial. So please join us in recognizing and honoring this land and their ancestors, elders, descendants, and all other members of their communities. Thank you. So that brings us to the need to approve our agenda. Is there a motion? Director Wieskamp moves, Director Rosario seconds approval of the agenda. Please call the roll.
Yes, President Coffey. Director Rosario.
Aye.
Director Wieskamp.
Aye.
Director Corbett.
Aye.
Director Lane.
Aye.
So approved. The agenda passed.
So today's meeting is held pursuant to the Brown Act as amended by AB 361. Board members and staff may participate via phone or video conferencing along with members of the public. We're next going to move to public comment on matters not on the agenda. We will then, during the course of the meeting, as we take up agenda items, we will take public comment on those specific agenda items, but the next matter will be public comment on matters not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, could you please describe how one participates?
Yes, President Coffey. Public comments may be submitted in one of three ways: via email to myself, Yolanda Burial Knight, Clerk of the Board, at yburial@edparks.org, via voicemail at 510-544-2016, leaving a message which will be transcribed and given to the board and then made a part of the public record or by joining the meeting via the Zoom link, which is listed on the agenda and posted on the district's website. Public comments will not be read at the meeting, but any written emails or transcribed voice messages will be included in the final board packet. All comments and letters received before the deadline yesterday of 3 p.m. have been distributed to the board and will not be read at this meeting.
Okay, thank you. And we did have in fact received a number of email on topics both on the agenda and off the agenda. And we have received requests to speak on matters not on the agenda. We'll move to those at this point. If you haven't submitted a request, if you use the, the reactions icon on the bottom of the Zoom and raise your hand, it puts your little Zoom box in the upper right, left-hand corner of our screen. So I can see Michael Moore already and Sarah and Francis. So that is the way to get on a list other than if you have already emailed Yolanda and she's got that list. And the topic here that we've received the most input on is the telecommuting policy that is being developed between the AFSCME membership and our management. And there are, well, Madam Clerk, how many do we know of requests for public comment?
It was at 20, but I see now that it's much more.
Okay, so in order to be able to do this, we're going to have to limit each individual to 2 minutes. And on top of that, ask that there try to be as little as overlap as possible, make points that are succinct and maybe haven't been already repeated a number of times. If we do that, the more people can have input within the limits of how long these meetings go. So we'd appreciate that. And then I'll turn it over to the clerk to start calling on folks. And again, we do have some requests that came in earlier. I know, Yolanda, Patricia Lamborn wants to speak about MLK.
Yes.
So maybe we should take that one first, just to bring some order to what people are speaking of.
Yes, we can certainly do that, President Coffey.
Yeah.
Patricia.
So 2 minutes, folks. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Patricia Lamborn, you have 2 minutes, ma'am. You can unstop your video.
Okay, all right. I unstopped my video, but it doesn't, I don't seem to, there we go. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you so much. So 2 minutes. My name is Pat Lamborn. I'm a resident of the city of Alameda. I've been involved in shoreline cleanup issues in my city, as well as supporting stormwater drain fees to deal with our infrastructure repair and trash collection devices. But I'm here to address the board. Thank you very much for giving me this time about trash collection and trash problems at Martin Luther King Jr. Shoreline Park. My husband and I have devoted a lot of time in the last 3 years to doing trash cleanup at MLK on the shoreline. And what I'm here to do is to request that you, the board, set up a special study, information, and action session on MLK and the trash issue. And I would suggest you schedule that towards the end of November. It would be after the September coastal cleanups and the election season. But it really is an urgent matter. I sent you all a PowerPoint, and I don't know if you had a chance to review it. I tried to include a lot of photos of the cleanups that I've done with my husband and other volunteers like Blue Terra, a grassroots organization. I included the dates to emphasize the reality. It's extremely clear if you do these cleanups, the origin of the horrendous heaps of trash is not litter from park users. And the park staff does a fantastic job of keeping that park clean and welcoming. The trash washes down onto the shoreline from stormwater drainage from the city surrounding MLK, and it flows into the creeks that then flow into the park and the bay. Some of those creeks include San Leandro, Damon Slough, East Creek. We focus on our cleanups in 2022 to East Creek. So if you look at the PowerPoint, it shows that every other week we go and there is just as much trash, even though we dragged away hundreds of pounds of it. So I'm asking for you to schedule that study session. We could look together, include volunteers, experts, et cetera, at possible solutions. Stormwater fees, trash collection devices on the creeks. I would urge hiring a trash specialist who could help guide and direct all the very willing volunteers to do our trash in a way that collects data and orients us towards true solutions. So that is what the issue and action I wanted to bring before you today. I think my 2 minutes are up.
Yes.
Okay. So I would ask, the last thing I'd ask is that if you make a decision to hold a study session, please have a staff member let me know. And I would be very happy to assist and help with that study session in any way I could. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia, and thank you for your photos that you submitted, and we all read them, and there will be follow-up. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Coffey, if I may, we have members of the public that are actually in the boardroom, and there's a couple of people outside, and I'd like to be able to move them in and out of the space. If we could do the public.
Wow,
comments that are
I'm
here.
not used to that.
I know.
Real people in real time.
Real people.
Hallelujah,
are here,
another
yeah.
hallelujah. All right. I'll defer to your management of that.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to go in no particular order. Cara. Can't pronounce your last name. There we go. You have 2 minutes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You turn on the microphone.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Hi, my name is Cara Betcher, and I'm a GIS analyst here at the Park District. I remember March 13th, 2020, like it was yesterday. Our department chief told us to pack up your work computer, go home and buy a camera because we're starting on Zoom on Monday. He made the expectations clear from the start that this was not going to be, there will not be any slacking off. It's really the opposite. Our productivity, communication, and dedication have all increased in the last 2.5 years. Just ask our supervisors or look at our performance reviews. The toothpaste is out of the tube. We have mobile offices in our backpacks, which make us more responsive. On telework days, we have the freedom to pick the best work location for what we are working on, and we check in with each other throughout the day. Thanks to telework, I've been able to get out to more of our parks on work and personal time. A few of the people in our department have moved out to more affordable places in the East Bay, such as Antioch, and we've also hired new staff from around the region. Many people cannot pay the high cost of living here or want to commute to Oakland daily, but are willing to commute to Oakland half-time. It's particularly difficult to get to this office on public transit. The flexibility of telework is a relief for employees who need to use wheelchairs, can't drive, don't have access to a vehicle, or just don't want to drive for environmental reasons. Telework is how we're creating a more inclusive and diverse workforce, one that represents the East Bay. Our work environment has evolved rapidly in 2.5 years. Navigating all the changes requires flexibility and patience from everyone. Yet, without explanation, management is increasing in-person office days to 3 full days per week, requiring makeup days with no protection against spyware to monitor employees. This is putting an arbitrary one-size-fits-all control on staff. The new policy does not consider our job functions or personal situations that make it difficult to have makeup days. Also, this policy does not consider the benefits the district management has received over the last 2.5 years with more dedicated and productive employees. I urge the board of directors to instruct management to follow the district's mission and create a policy that maximizes the benefits of telework. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. The next
Thank you.
speaker is Pamela Bittner.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Pamela Bittner, IPM specialist. I've been with the district for 20 years, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about our telecommuting options here. I implore the board and management to work with AFSCME to maintain and refine an equitable, a flexible, and climate-smart telecommuting policy. This current or most recent district proposal does not take into account the previous agreements with AFSCME. Telecommuting gives us all a very competitive edge as an employer. Talking with a lot of new employees, of which we have quite a few, many have taken pay cuts from their previous jobs. but the benefits here make it worth it. Telecommuting is one of those benefits. We live in one of the most expensive places in the US. Our wages here at the district, despite our recent increase, are still not as competitive as comparable agencies and comparable positions. Telecommuting is one of those benefits that makes it more possible for us to continue to live here in our home. Telecommuting is climate smart, super duper climate smart. We have become more effective. We have learned to be much better communicators, and we are saving gas. We are reducing carbon that we release into the atmosphere. Why not make telecommuting a much better, smarter, equitable, flexible policy? Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Rose.
Hi, my name is Mary Rose Kulik. I'm a GIS technician here at the district, and I'm also going to comment on the telework policy. One of my concerns is the difference between teleworking on a regular schedule versus a flex schedule. In the district's proposed policy, people on a flex schedule will have 4.5 to 5 fewer hours available to them to telework than someone working on a regular schedule. I feel that at least the number of hours we're given to telework should be equal among all employees, regardless of their chosen schedule. This would mean adding a half day of telework to flex schedules telework allotment. I recently switched to a flex schedule in an effort to create more work-life balance. During my 5-day work week, I have 1/2 telework day. I have a longer commute, 60 miles round trip, and the half day saves me about a half hour in traffic later in the afternoon. It may not seem like a lot, but having that sort of flexibility really makes a difference in both my mood and energy levels. People on flex schedules are working the same number of hours as people on regular schedules, and this policy seems to imply flex schedules work less or have more time off, and this is not the case. There are many more benefits that I've experienced while teleworking: less time commuting, easier access to doctor's appointments, more sleep, less time wearing a mask for long hours are among some of them. Also, having the ability to switch off between working from home and the office helps shake up my week, which usually involves long days in front of a computer. Having access to telework actually makes me enjoy and appreciate being in the office more. While telework may not be suitable for everyone's role at the district, I do believe everyone should be able to work with their direct supervisor to implement telework where it makes sense. Having a blanket one-size-fits-all policy without allowing flexibility for individuals' needs will not benefit district employees in the long term. Thank you.
Thank you. Nadia?
My name is Nadia Targulian, and I'm a GIS programmer. Good morning, dear members of the board. My name is Nadia Targulian, and I'm GIS programmer with the district. I was very sorry to hear about this new policy to revert our existing telecommuting policy. I thought it worked really well, as throughout the year the employees were successfully praised about how successful policy was and how we were able to do our job well. So this was quite sudden, I have to say. So some, but not all specifics that are problematic in the new policy. One of them is arbitrary mandate to make up in-person workdays if out on leave. This puts hardship on all staff with children and really disrupts preset schedules for pickup, drop-off, daycare, and schedules with dependents. So the requirement that supervisors use spyware to monitor employees seems to undermine the trust that seems to be existing and is very important that staff has with their supervisors and managers. Also, I would like to mention the arbitrary ban on teleworking on Wednesday, which will require everyone to be in the office, where clearly COVID is still with us, since we're all required to wear masks. It puts undue risk and it doesn't seem to be well explained. And as a whole, I think that the policy how it worked before presented a great life-work balance for all of us in the district. And I think I have to mention that the mental health of us using this telecommuting policy last year, I think greatly improved, especially after all the hardships we all experienced since COVID. And I'm very much hoping that we'll be able to continue with this great life-work balance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Precious, you have 2 minutes, ma'am. Sorry. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Precious, and I am here to speak on the telecommuter agreement as well. I have several things to point out. So we are all required, the new telecommuter policy requires all of us to be here on a Wednesday, where we would all be in the building, we would all be wearing face masks, we would all have on headsets. Currently, the way it is now, with the mask that the district provided for us, it pulls our ears forward it's pulling my ears forward. I'm have a headset on, which is smashing my ears, which gives me headaches throughout the day. So I personally have been using sick leave to alleviate being here full time in order to get, in order to do my work productively. And with that being said, we're required to be here on a Wednesday, yet we can't even all be in a board meeting at one time. So I'm confused that we all have to be here on a Wednesday, and the COVID's not the reason why this agreement's in place, yet COVID protocols are still in place, yet here in the boardroom where we all have to stand outside the door and come in at a minimum due to COVID. So that's another point. I do live in Antioch, so I do have a long commute. I do have a daughter who goes to school in Castro Valley. So for my schedule, Wednesdays does not work for me either, because she's with me Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I drop her off on Tuesday. She's with her dad Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't see a need to travel in to Oakland if I don't have to bring my daughter in. And that's to nobody's fault that I live in Antioch. I'm a single mother providing for my 11-year-old daughter and my 62-year-old father by myself. So that's where I could afford to purchase a home. And that's where I chose to reside in order to make a good living or to work here at the Park District and also have a safe environment for my daughter to play in. So this new telecommute agreement, with the way it's written, to be here on a Wednesday does require a hardship for me. And I also telecommute because I do volunteer at my daughter's school. I do volunteer at St. Vincent de Paul on Fridays. So those are my days that I choose to give back to my community and to my daughter's school. Yet I'm being punished because I do have a telecommute agreement. I do have a flexible work agreement, yet I have to then come in the office 3 days a week, then travel back here on my day off, which I do anyway, because I'm volunteering here locally. So it's just, for me, all the way around, it's just providing a hardship. And I have a commuter car and I also have an SUV. So gas for me is just kind of, through the roof. So yet we did a great job in negotiations for our contract, yet I just put it back in my gas tank. So I would really like the board to have direct staff to look at this telecommuter agreement and see, is there any what other ways or options we have to help staff members who are struggling in the event that we do have to commute, because it is a work-life balance for us and our families. Thank you. Thank you, Precious. I don't think there's anybody else outside. Correct. Just want to make sure. Okay, thank you. And I do see several members of the public have their hands raised, but what I'm going to do is go by the list that I have organized of the people that sent me an email in advance, and then whomever is left, I will go to you. All right. So our next speaker is Ed Culver. And you have 2 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you have 2 minutes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, President Coffey and members of the board. My name is Edward Culver, and I am a biologist in the stewardship department here at the Park District. I've had the privilege of presenting to this board and have actually had the opportunity to accompany several of you in the field doing pond surveys, looking for endangered species such as frogs, salamanders, and turtles. Because animals do not hold to our societal standards of working 9 to 5, I'm often working at sunrise or sometimes before, and then working at sunset and often late into the night, studying fish, frogs, turtles, birds, bats, any of the amazing animals that we have in our park district. I rarely have a 2-week schedule that is normal. With the current telecommute agreement, my manager and I have the ability and the flexibility to be able to determine my telecommute schedule. I'm able to work independently to accomplish numerous tasks that benefit not only the park district, but also benefit these amazing, unique wildlife and landscapes that we are tasked with protecting. It doesn't really matter where I am. I'm always working hard for the animals and for the aquatic habitats protected by the East Bay Park District. Arbitrarily forcing us into the office prevents me from being able to conduct work when I feel it's necessary or when the animals feel it's necessary. I believe that for the last 2.5 years, not only I, but everyone has shown that we can produce results for both the park district, but also these amazing natural habitats that we manage using a more flexible telecommute schedule. Numerous other agencies in our area, NGOs and the private sector are offering telecommute to people who hold positions like mine and do jobs like we do. It's a perk of sort of the ultra commute standards of living in the Bay Area. I really do ask that the management and the board please reconsider the telecommute schedule that was proposed to the union. This inflexible schedule requires us to be in the office on Wednesdays as well as 2 other days. And I just feel that this takes away discretion from my manager and myself, and puts it in the position of the assistant general managers who have significantly more important things to worry about than my work schedule that changes every 2 weeks.
That's your time, Edward. Thank
Okay,
you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Erica Guerrero?
Can you guys hear me?
Barely.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay.
You have 2 minutes.
All right. Good afternoon, board members. I'm speaking today to express my disappointment and dismay in regard to the proposed reduction in our current telecommute policy. The office working environment is no longer the norm of businesses and public agency operations. Currently, several state of California agencies that we work with or even look to for guidance, such as Air Resources Board, California Environmental Protection Agency, State Personnel Board, Department of General Services, State Water Resources Board, and multiple others have adapted to the new working conditions that were discovered during the pandemic. All of the California state-run agencies have the option to telecommute. Approximately 73% of the state of California workforce works at home telecommuting 100% of the time. Approximately 22% telecommute part-time and less than 6% are actually in office full-time. This breaks down to over 1.5 million miles of commute, 42,000 hours of time saved, over 71,000 gallons of gas, and almost 650 metric tons of CO2 emissions avoided weekly. If the state of California agencies that align similarly to our ethics and values as a district can save over 70% of their staff telecommuting 100% of the time, then why are we in the midst of changing our position in regards to working from home? Why are we willing to go back to increasing our own greenhouse gases, not doing our part to mitigate climate change, and limiting how we are providing our own economical benefits? The new proposed telecommute policy is contradicting what our mission statement says we stand for. This is being presented to employees at a time when inflation's at an all-time high, gas prices are outrageous, and COVID is still very much present in our everyday life. The district had to learn to accommodate the changes associated from working from home when we were all required to shelter in place in March in 2020. Since then, we've had more than 2 years to not only learn to adjust to the changes, but also better our work productivity from home. Our society has shifted to from the pen and paper type office to a technology-based office that can be utilized literally anywhere. The new proposed telecommute policy is an insult to all the efforts that we have put into making our work successful. Telecommuting has not only been an effective way for the district to reduce overhead costs, but it's also been proven to boost employee morale. It's good for employee mental health, as well as provides a work-life balance for many. We are asking that
Erica,
thank you.
you're welcome. Next speaker is
Thank you.
Sarah Lounsbury.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I live in Oakland and have worked for the district for 6 years. I would like to comment on the district's new telecommute plan. I am concerned and stressed by the proposals being made. The plan has numerous restrictions, including number 1, only allowing an employee to work from home 1 to 2 days per week maximum, and number 2, not allowing an employee to work from home on a Wednesday. In addition, any telecommute form must be submitted and then approved up the entire chain of command, which includes 4 people in my case. My supervisor knows my job best, whereas those above her can't speak to the specifics of my day-to-day responsibilities. I can go into detail about why I prefer working from home, like being able to manage my disability more privately or having more time with family because I no longer have to commute. But what it boils down to is that I feel happier and healthier. I want fewer telecommuting roadblocks. Lastly, let the district not forget its climate smart initiative and policy, which is posted on the district's website. Quote, in 2018, the Park District adopted a climate policy that guides the Park District in incorporating 5 climate principles. I'll go ahead and read the first 2 principles which are relevant to telecommuting. Principle 1, climate in all policies. Park District policies, planning documents, decisions, and management practices will strive to mitigate and adapt to a changing climate wherever possible, including to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Principle 2, climate friendly. Quote, the Park District will consider climate impacts in all activities and strive for environmentally sustainable operations and design. This includes actions whenever feasible for greenhouse gas emission reduction. In conclusion, I hope the district reconsiders its telecommuting proposal to make it more fair, flexible, and environmentally friendly. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Our next speaker is Kristen Van Dam.
Hello, good afternoon, board members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Kristen Van Dam. I'm an ecologist in stewardship responsible for supporting the Park District's fuels management program. I would like to comment on the district's proposed telecommuting policy, which will adversely affect staff and the district as a whole. Nothing in this policy is necessary for staff to do our jobs efficiently or effectively. This is not the same world as it was in 2019. 25 to 50% of the US workforce is fully remote. Remote work is now a basic component of the working environment, and district staff have already incorporated remote work seamlessly into our jobs. I asked the directors and management to reflect on the work of our district in recent years and consider what conditions require a majority of work to be performed from a central office. At the very least, I would like to be assured that there is some basis for this proposed policy. Studies find that remote work increases individual productivity by at least 13% and reduces employee break time and sick time. Does the district have numbers that conflict with these findings? If there are no data to demonstrate a need for this policy, why is it being proposed? District staff are safer in a hybrid setting. In the midst of 2 pandemics, fewer people in any given space is the safest option. We are more likely to avoid transmissible illness when we are able to avoid crowded environments. With hybrid work, getting sick at the office is avoidable, and allowing staff to make the choice to keep themselves well is reasonable and humane. With current guidelines, the office is an uncomfortable and unwelcome place to work. We are masked all day. The only place that we're able to see our coworkers' faces is outside or on Zoom. We cannot eat at our desks, nor in the kitchen area. In winter, staff are eating lunch in their cars. Why are we being forced into the office under these conditions? These are not the kind of conditions that foster productivity and morale. These are not the kind of conditions that attract and retain a workforce of excellence. Rather, these are the kind of conditions that will result in the Park District losing not only productivity, but some of its best staff. Staff that are not only underpaid, but also forced to conform to arbitrary office time will find little to motivate them to serve the district's mission. I ask you to imagine what can be gained by treating your staff with trust, flexibility, and respect. Given that the Park District has a staff that has continuously demonstrated exceptional dedication in the most challenging of circumstances, and the documented benefits of remote work, both to workers and businesses, I ask you why the Park District needs this harmful policy.
Thank you, Kristen. Our next speaker is Dawn Stevenson. Dawn, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I have a question. If I have a statement for a coworker, how would I handle that?
Are you reading this statement for yourself, the first one?
Yes. First, I want to go me, and then I want to go my coworker.
Okay, let's read your statement first.
Okay. Good
Let's
afternoon.
circle
My name is, okay. Good
Let's
afternoon.
circle, wait just 1 second, Dawn.
Okay.
And then we'll go to the next person, then we'll come back to you. Who are you
got
reading
it.
it for?
Erica Stevens.
Okay, all right, let's do you first.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Dawn Stevens, and I'm administrative specialist at the district. My public comments are regarding sunsetting the telework policy, which is not on the agenda. I came to the Park District after working in another industry. I wish I'd known about the Park District earlier because I would have made my career here. I hadn't had an opportunity to be around people who loved what they were doing. They had me believing this job wasn't a job because everyone I met enjoyed their sites. This excitement made me want to apply for a permanent position. I chose to work for the Park District because of the strides its leaders had made, were making to invoke change, to create an environment that celebrated the past, honored nature to develop land that would not mean displacing that which made these areas home. I saw that management has the courage to imagine a new workplace for what it is, not what it was. When I learned that the telework policy was sunsetting on August 31st, I was very disappointed. In the same memorandum, there was mention of offering a remote work program that not only works for all of our employees, but also serves the public and the Park District's mission. I thought that the collaborative remote work policy we've been using met those needs. I was quite distressed to review a 19-page revised policy with multiple obstacles and restrictions. A little action consistently can make change. The district did not fare like most businesses during the pandemic. It did not close, file for bankruptcy, or lose a large portion of its workforce. It thrived. This should have engendered confidence between those that approved the telework agreement and those that request it. Unfortunately, this is not what happened, and I cannot understand why this is so difficult. Why wouldn't a company want to extend a benefit that they have deemed as cost neutral? It can save fewer unscheduled days off, use vacated office space that would not allow the district to save on future real estate costs. It's all about perspective, the lens you're using. Support workforce with the popular prevailing idea because it suits the purpose. If you don't look, then you can't see the benefits. Widen your perspective. Please don't derail the telework policy. Teleworking can be a form of self-care, like being in the regional parks is self-care. Continuing to offer telework allows the Park District to stay competitive and continue to have a robust roster of talented and dedicated personnel. Please listen to these suggestions. Great talent can do anything from anywhere and make an incredible impact. Business leaders should trust their employees. This allows each one of us to thrive every day. Give the team the flexibility and autonomy to decide for themselves where they will work. Decentralize the decision-making process so that team leaders and staff in that unit can arrive at mutually beneficial work styles. This means that the individual is afforded the freedom to decide when it's best suited to come into the office. And one more question. What's up with the Wednesday blackout? And thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. We'll come back to you. Eva Rose. I don't see her there. Paul Ferrario. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Good afternoon, President Coffey and board members, General Manager Landreth and staff. My comments are also on telework. I just want to summarize that the work is getting done. When we look at the onset of COVID on my desk, unemployment claims, we saw historic volumes of that. That meant my department working with human resources and finance and the supervisor of every person who filed an unemployment claim. We got the work done. On the other side of the coin, we talk about crime. For whatever reasons, we've seen historic levels of catalytic converter thefts, burglaries at district facilities, and illegal dumping of hazmats in our parks. Excuse me. Again, working with equipment shops, park rangers, supervisors, unit managers, finance department, the work is getting done. We're keeping all these things going. And in summary, I just want to say that it's the keystrokes and the telephone calls that gets this work done. It's the collaboration. And that's not really tied to one specific location on the earth. It's been working in our telework agreements. Thank you for your consideration in keeping our current system going. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Next speaker is Tammy Lim. Tammy, you have 2 minutes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Tammy Lim, and I'm a wildlife biologist in the stewardship department at the district. I support the revised telework proposal for a few reasons. For one, I live in the middle of Oakland, and yet what is a 15-minute drive to the main office turns out to be an hour and walk and bus ride to the main office. Increasing in-office work would be more expensive, polluting, stressful, and take away valuable time out of our days, all during a time of exorbitant gas prices and sky-high inflation. I'm personally particularly concerned about the Wednesday requirement. Our department has a new position, which is thrilling, but we don't have enough cubicles. I've been asked to share with another person for the next few years while we're in transition. We simply don't have enough room to safely work while maintaining social distancing. The COVID pandemic isn't over yet, and we're on the precipice of yet another pandemic. I'm absolutely fine with sharing my workspace, but not at the same time with another person. The benefits to our current telework policy outweigh any perceived costs. With tools such as Teams and Zoom, I've stayed connected with colleagues. And to promote collaboration during this time, I've also established an open door policy to fieldwork. In 2022 alone, I worked with over 30 colleagues in the field. If collaboration and relationship building is the impetus for the return to office, I would suggest that we have other, maybe even better ways to grow these connections. Allow us to find those ways and encourage our managers to support and help us develop innovative collaborative tools. I hope we've made the case that we don't need this change now. What I've seen these past 2.5 years has been unparalleled dedication. We, the district employees, have been working harder than ever, adapting to new situations, learning new technologies, and staying committed to our work, both at our home offices and in our parks. I urge the board of directors to direct management to follow the district's mission and create a policy that maximizes the benefits of teleworking. Thank you.
Excuse me. Our next speaker is Jessica Sloan. Jessica, you just got on, so you have 2 minutes.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to thank you all for the opportunity to speak to you today, and I too was hoping to speak about the telecommute policy. I'd like to echo many of the things that have been said already. We have been working so hard as a district, and the telecommute policy brings a levity and a level of, just being able to make our workspaces as comfortable and productive as possible. And as a supervisor here with the district, I'm asking you to please trust us to be able to manage our workers and be able to work with our staff and, give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to be getting the work done that they need to get done. So that's all I really wanted to say. And I want to say thank you again for the opportunity to come and speak.
Thank you, Jessica. If you could put yourself on mute, fantastic. Thank you. Hillary Van Osten.
Hi.
Hi, Hillary.
Great. Hi, I'm Hillary Van Osten. I'm the senior graphic designer with the Park District. Been here 19 years now. And thank you, board and everyone for the opportunity to speak. I'm requesting that the board will support a fair telecommute agreement for the AFSCME staff. As we've heard, we've been doing a really good job at doing our telecommute. And I know from my coworkers and myself that we've been giving 100 or more percent to getting our work done. In my own case, I can work remotely from anywhere as long as I am set up with my computer and my telephone. So for me to come into office hasn't been as productive as even just working from home. I think this is a great opportunity for the board to help our environment so we can have healthy parks and a healthy world, a healthy planet. We can reduce our commuter emissions with the opportunity to be working remotely. It's also an opportunity for healthy people, as we've heard, from our productivity to COVID protection to it being a competitive benefit that attracts and keeps our best employees. So again, please, I'm asking the board to support a fair telecommute agreement. And thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. Our next speakers, I'm just going to be looking at the screen, so hopefully I don't miss you. I'm going to go left to right on my screen. Michael Moore, you have 2 minutes, sir.
Good afternoon, President Coffey and board members. My name is Michael Moore. I live in Oakland and work for the district. I want to talk about the district's proposed remote work policy. I can't work from home because of the nature of my job, but I still think others should be encouraged to. I think the new policy is too restrictive. It only lets people work from home 1 to 2 days per week. That's not enough. If people are happier at home, then let them work from home the majority of the time. Also, the district is contradicting its own mission statement, which says that an environmental ethic guides the district in all of its activities. An environmental ethic is certainly not factoring into this new remote work policy. Instead, the policy is a missed opportunity for the district to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is going to be Constance Taylor and then Nate Luna.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, President Coffey, board members, and General Manager Landreth. My name is Constance Taylor, and I'm a naturalist with the district, and I'm here today to also speak about the telecommute policy. I urge the board and management to adopt the telecommute policy set forth by AFSCME. Management's policy will merely serve to foment even more frustration and work dissatisfaction that we've been hearing so much about today with those who are simply trying to do their jobs in the most environmentally friendly, efficient, productive, and COVID-aware way. Additionally, from the very beginning of the telecommute policy, management has never operated in good faith and consistently denied requests without justification. I can only imagine that problems will increase with this more restrictive policy, especially given the punitive and patronizing parameters that come with it, such as supervisors using spyware to monitor employees. Management has not ever publicly expressed that there have been problems with productivity or team cohesion with telework, and these restrictive policies appear to come more from a lack of trust, a scarcity mentality, and a need to flex power over those in more subordinate positions than because there are actual problems with telecommuting. In public, AFSCME employees have received nothing but high praise from both the board and management for adapting to teleworking, and there has not been a single reported case of discipline in regard to telework abuse. East Bay Regional Park District is hemorrhaging excellent employees because of frustrating work conditions, such as arbitrarily denying telecommuting and management that distrusts professional, hardworking staff for no ascertainable reasons. We need to do everything we can to attract and retain good and reliable workers, and AFSCME's proposed telecommute policy is an excellent start. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Constance. Nate Luna, followed by Rebecca Sisson.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nate Loon. I'm a project manager at the East Bay Regional Park District. Thank you, board members and General Manager Lambert, for having me speak today, or for allowing me to speak today. I am very thankful for the ability to telecommute. I feel there are a number of benefits to telecommuting, including not spending 2.5 hours in traffic every day. This is a quality of life benefit that allows me to spend more time with my family. The proposed telecommute agreement can be improved. There seems to be a bait and switch for new hires. The positions are being advertised as hybrid, but the proposed agreement says the new hires must work in person for 1 month, and then they may apply for a telecommute agreement. I feel this should be revised. If a person is hired in a position that is advertised as hybrid, they should be automatically approved for a telecommute agreement. Next, the requirement for all staff to report in person on Wednesday strikes me as odd. We've been giving each other space since the beginning of the pandemic, allowing people that cannot work from home to report to Peralta Oaks and have some space to work. The proposed agreement would have a crowded Peralta Oaks 1 day a week, and it would be best to give each other space to work. It was well known that prior to 2020, if someone in Peralta Oaks had a cold, that cold would travel around the building. I feel we should continue with a matrix that allows only a maximum percentage of occupants in Peralta Oaks each day, whether that be 50 or 60%. Lastly, I believe the Park District has an opportunity to be a leader and to frame telecommuting as an opportunity. At the Park District, an environmental ethic guides all that we do. The telecommuting agreement should be looked at as an environmental agreement, a way to reduce the amount of CO2 released into the atmosphere. We have staff that commutes to Peralta Oaks from Santa Cruz, Tracy, Antioch, Petaluma, Fairfield each day. With these 5 locations alone, the commute is 491 miles round trip. That's 20 gallons of gas per day. Extrapolate that out to the hundreds of employees that have the ability to telecommute, and we're talking about reducing the amount of CO2 by hundreds of metric tons each year. The number of metric tons of CO2 is quantifiable and could be reported annually as another way the Park District the environment locally and globally. With the Park District's goal to become carbon neutral, commuting to work should be part of the metrics. I see this as an opportunity for the Park District to lead the way and adopt a robust telecommute policy that is also a quality of life and environmental policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is going to be Rebecca.
Good afternoon. My name is Rebecca Sisson. I work as a senior administrative specialist at the Park District and live in Oakland. The Park District's slogan of healthy parks, healthy people should also apply to the folks who work here. Management's telework proposal has numerous negative health consequences for the 200 or so AFSCME members who currently have telework agreements. Sitting in a car, stressed out by Bay Area rush hour traffic is about one of the least healthy activities I can think of, not only for us, but also for the environment. I appreciate that the district is making a shift towards environmentally friendly hybrid and electric vehicles, but those vehicles are not what most of us can afford. By maximizing the use of telework, there would be less vehicle pollution. Teleworking is better for the financial health of EBRPD employees, given the current price of gas and cost of living, which has forced a lot of folks to live very far from their work sites. Teleworking is better for the mental health of EBRPD employees. Instead of driving, we're able to go on a longer walk with the dogs after work, go for a hike, or cook a healthy dinner. So many things more healthy than sitting in traffic. The physical health consequences don't just relate to that sedentary and stressful commute, but also to COVID cases. Having people congregate in person more during a surge in COVID cases puts us at risk of the physical health consequences of catching COVID. Maintaining less in-person contact will keep those workplace transmission numbers down. Maximizing telework is beneficial not just to employees, but to the entire Park District. By maximizing telework, the district would bolster their image as an environmental leader in the fight against climate change. Having a comprehensive telework policy would also assist in recruiting and retaining the best employees. I'm asking the board today to please urge management to maximize telework to demonstrate the district's commitment to healthy people and to the environment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is going to be Allison Roeff. Allison, I see that you were going to speak on 2 topics. If you could just speak on the telecommute right now.
Yes, I'll do that right now. Thank you.
Thank you. You have 2 minutes, ma'am.
All right. Hello. Hello board. Good afternoon. Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Allison Roeff. I am the district grazing, I'm the district rangeland specialist, and I've been with the Park District since June 2019, which means most of my employment at the district has actually been under a teleworking agreement. At first, I was very wary of teleworking even pre-COVID. I felt like I was more productive in the office. And over time, and being thrown into the thrust of teleworking, I've actually was always wrong. I felt like I was wrong. And I actually am very productive, and it helps me keep up with my current workload. I work with over 40 grazing tenants and staff at all the parks where there's grazing. That's about 86,000 acres. And the nature of my work requires me to be in the field quite often and also spontaneous. I feel that the teleworking agreement is not flexible enough, and it poses these arbitrary limitations. And I know that my performance and the performance of my colleagues has shown that we're providing the services the public expects when we're utilizing the teleworking to the maximum extent. Like someone said, we're getting the work done. I feel also like I'm being punished for being on a flex schedule. The reason I work more hours per day is so I can have that day off and not have to come in an additional day in the office to make up for it. I urge the board to instruct management and create policy that maximizes the benefits of the teleworking agreement, allows flexibility, trust, respect, climate smart, and a lot of other things that my colleagues have said. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll come back to the other topic, Allison. Will Rose, you have 2 minutes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Will Rose, and I'm a field office surveyor at the district. I've been here for about 6 years, and I would just like to echo what my colleagues have already been saying about the proposed changes to our telecommute agreement. There has been no loss of productivity due to telecommuting. In public, AFSCME employees have received nothing but praise from both the board of directors and management for quickly adapting to telework. And despite the district's mission statement saying that climate should, just lost my train of thought. Despite the district's claim of being a leader on climate change, management has put forward a policy that would limit our ability to reduce employees' commuting emissions by at most 2/5. In reality, the reductions would be much less since few employees would be able to fully access this modest amount of teleworking that management is offering. Furthermore, we're still in the midst of a public health crisis and the risks of COVID infection remain high. The arbitrary demand that no telework take place on Wednesdays, it seems quite foolish to require us to congregate indoors and risk widespread COVID outbreaks among staff, impacting our service to the public. And yeah, this is an opportunity for management to really cement the district's reputation as an environmental leader and take this opportunity to reduce the amount of emissions from commuting by automobile to and from the district offices. I urge the board of directors to instruct management to follow the district's mission and create a policy that maximizes the benefits of teleworking for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is going to be Magnolia Morris. You have 2 minutes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Magnolia Morris, and I'm the acting supervising land surveyor for the district and also an AFSCME member. As you know, it takes many hands to do the work of protecting our parks, and the outpouring of employees speaking here today really shows that. I'm also here to talk about the proposed changes to the telework policy. I heard the disappointing news at lunch today that although management had met again with the union, that we hadn't really made any progress on a more fair and flexible work agreement. I know that it sounds like we're hearing the same arguments again and again, but they bear repeating. And the fact that everybody is touching on the same points, I think, is really important. When I hear about these changes, my objections are both personal and principled. It is personal because it does affect my ability to have a stable work-life balance, to have stability in my schedule, and to worry that management might try again to arbitrarily change a policy that's been in place for what seems to be a reason. On a principle level, the changes do appear to be arbitrary and heavy-handed. We've already talked about making everyone come into work on Wednesdays, especially when we still have to wear masks. And it seems inconsistent with safety measures. And some of the heavy-handed ones are demanding that employees forego telework time if they choose to utilize a benefit that they've had when they got hired, which was to have and take vacation time. It seems punitive and unfair. All right, there's a lot going on. The blanket policy changes are prescriptive and they lack the nuance to allow employees to accomplish their work to the best of their abilities. And as we've heard, there's a variety of work that happens, and also not allowing new employees to choose to have a flex schedule or 4-10 schedule would impact certain units like my unit, where we all have a synchronized flex schedule. And being able to also synchronize our time in the office is something we're able to decide on as a unit. And I think that allowing other units to decide on what days they come into the office together would make more sense for the cohesion of trying to get work done.
You're just about out of time.
That's fine. Yeah. I don't think that there's any reason for these changes. I haven't heard any tangible arguments. And so until then, I think we should either keep the policy that we have, or I would urge the board to instruct management to adopt a policy that's very similar to the one that we already have. Thank you.
Thank you. Francis Mendoza. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Sorry, y'all. I don't know why I can't start my video, but I'll just speak if y'all can still hear me. I'm going to switch it up a little. Oh, there we go. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. And I love remote working. I'm 100% remote, no longer with the district, and it's just made me so much more productive. So, you know, I'm on board with everybody. Magandang araw sa inyo lahat. Beautiful day to you all. My name is Francis Mendoza, and I'm a former naturalist with the Park District, local ASME 2428 member, and a proud part of its Workforce Diversity Committee. It's been a year and a half since I left the district because of the lack of promotional opportunities for BIPOC, non-binary folks like myself. When I resigned, I was hopeful the district was well on its way to uphold its DEI principles, diversity, equity, and inclusion. As a naturalist at Coyote Hills, Crab Cove, Tidewater, the Hayward Shoreline, and interpretive student aide at Ardenwood almost 30 years ago, I was in touch with our most marginalized communities and engaged them in an authentic, meaningful way. I appreciate the Park District for affording me the resources and access to these beloved communities that I invariably belong to. Now more than a year and a half has passed since the DEI study was enacted by BCT partners, prompting more than 100 employees to meet virtually to discuss their vision, though nothing has come from it. Not an update, report, or fact-finding assessment, or evaluation. Unfortunately, this is not a new phenomenon. A few years ago, a study was commissioned by the Government Affairs Department to assess the level of community engagement the district had with its most vulnerable communities. After dozens of interviews with staff and community members, it was quickly and summarily dismissed, and the consultant was let go without provocation or warning. For an agency that touts transparency in its practices with land, conservation, and wildlife management, y'all got a long way to go with DEI. I am now the manager of community development for the Children in Nature Network, a self-proclaimed anti-racist organization that works to enact systems-level change to provide equitable access to nature for all of our communities. When we had our international conference in Oakland in 2019, East Bay Regional Park was one of our major partners. Upon joining the just 15-year-old nonprofit last year, my colleagues told me that East Bay Parks was not only inflexible, opaque, rather than transparent, and just plain quote unquote atrocious as a partner. That was my, sort of bellwether opportunity to say, okay, I sort of feel the same way. This is not the kind of reputation y'all want to uphold.
Your time is up, Francis.
Moving forward.
If you could send the rest of that, that would be great on an email.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric Holmes, you have 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Coffey, members of the board. My name is Eric Holmes, member of AFSCME Local 2428 and a member of the Meet and Confer team for the telework policy. Throughout this process, in listening to so many union members the past few months, what's been clear, the major issue, the major complaint is that the district just isn't listening, not listening to its employees. The union's counter proposal was developed by listening to all of our members, these members that are here today and beyond. This morning, the district then ends up rejecting all the major items that were in the union counter proposal, continuing to not listen to those employees. allowing unilateral cancellation of the entire program, having no way to address disagreements. When employees are not listened to by the Park District, they need to take their personal time and they seek out other venues, specifically this one, public comment. I know the board is listening to us today and all of our members, but we employ the district management team to actually start listening to the employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Next speaker is Anna Marie.
Hi there, good afternoon. My name is Anna Marie Guerrero, and I'm the Cultural Services Coordinator for the Park District. I'm here today because I want to voice my support for a better telework agreement, of course, as we all are. I was hired at the Park District as an expert and a professional in my field, and I came from a job where I was treated as such and where I was trusted to manage my own professional schedule, only to come here to be treated not as if I'm capable to manage my own schedule, and now to be seemingly micromanaged. I recognize that many positions at the Park District, like our field staff, like our valuable rangers, have limits to their remote working capabilities. My position is such that I'm part field staff and part office. And my job is such that I have to be flexible because my field work isn't always planned or at all predictable. A flexible telework agreement agreed upon by myself and my direct supervisor, who understands the demands and rigors of my job, is necessary for me to be as efficient and as effective at managing resources for this Park District as possible. Teleworking also makes environmental sense as well in terms of gas savings and time savings. It reduces fossil fuels, carbon footprints, decreases commute-related stress, and contributes to a decrease in Bay Area traffic, something that we can all use a lot less of these days. I'm also pretty concerned that such an inflexible policy as the one that's being proposed would make this a less competitive workplace. Teleworking is a competitive benefit, especially in the Bay Area, that helps to attract and keep the best employees. So I'm worried that it is a great concern that we could lose our recruiting capabilities as well as our retention capabilities here at the Park District. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Liz Bittner, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, Liz.
Okay, thank you, Yolanda. My name is Liz Bittner, and I'm here to also speak on the DEI work that the Park District is doing. I've been a Park District employee for the past 15 years, working as a park supervisor at the Botanic Garden, and also a member of the district's Workforce Diversity Committee. I just want to start by thanking Director Rosario and Eccles for listing DEI as their top priorities for the year and for stating the importance of a transparent and inclusive process at the recent board study session. I also want to recognize and appreciate that the district's Human Resources Department has adopted some practices to create a more inclusive workplace, and that the Park District has become a member of the Government Alliance on Race and Equity, or GARE. I recently looked through the Port of Seattle's Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Organizational Assessment. They are making that available for GARE members to read. So while we can all view the Port of Seattle's report, we have yet to hear anything more about the Park District's DEI assessment that was initiated 18 months ago. And many of us have been asking for information and updates since March of this year, occasionally at board meetings and public comment. And according to the initial timeline presented, there was supposed to have been a report, a strategic planning committee, and a strategic plan completed by this time. So the consultant's work is important and it's needed in order to get a holistic assessment of where the district is as an employer in terms of DEI, so that the district can know specifically where the work needs to be done. And we do know by statistics alone that there is work to do. 2021 statistics show that the percentage of employees who identify as Black or Asian has declined over the past 10 years and is well below representing the population in our 2 counties. The statistics also show that the percentage of female employees has fluctuated between 33 and 37% over the last 10 years, though we know that women make up over 50% of the population. To quote from the 2021 Equal Employment Opportunity Report produced by the district in December of 2021, The Park District is situated in one of the most ethnically and racially diverse regions in the country, yet employees remain disproportionately white and male. This imbalance has existed consistently over the past 10 years, and more intentional action is needed to improve workforce diversity. To address this imbalance, the Park District contracted with BCT partners on a diversity, equity, and inclusion workforce and workplace assessment, end quotes. Beyond the statistics, what more does the consultant's DEI assessment reveal? We cannot get to the root causes of the inequities and imbalances at the Park District if we don't know what the root causes are.
Liz, that's your time.
Okay, thank you.
If you could send me the rest, that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Hal McLean, you have 2 minutes, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon, President Coffey and members of the board. Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Hal McLean. I'm the Water Management Supervisor at the district. I'm here to speak out against the district's proposed teleworking policy. I think this district should consider the positions and provide a greater range of options and should not remove our fundamental union rights to grieve unjust situations. My department, along with many more, cannot take advantage of much, if any, teleworking options due to our field monitoring to comply with regulatory requirements. But I've worked with engineers, administrators, planners, biologists, project managers, finance employees, and others who are working from home and were responsive, efficient, and effective from their home offices. We should be encouraging the smaller carbon footprint by reducing commutes. We need to keep these teleworking options to stay competitive with Bay Area jobs and careers. And we need to make sure that we don't have arbitrary limitations to benefits like teleworking. I urge the board of directors to instruct management to follow the district's mission and create a more flexible policy that maximizes the benefits of teleworking while keeping union rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Hal. Next speaker is Dave Renchie. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the board and staff. My name is Dave Renchie, also known as Dr. Quack. I'm a certified wildlife biologist with the district. I work on all things wild. I'm a former naturalist, prophet for the natural things, fire officer, firefighter, and EMT. I've worked for this green agency for 34 years. I'm disappointed in regards to the current proposed telecommuting policy, especially in light of what we've all had to live through the last 2 years. And despite all the praise we receive from the board, members of the public, and management for all the great work we've been getting done. We're a green agency. We say that environmental ethic guides all of our steps and decisions. We create and plant habitat for native wildlife. We involve thousands people, community volunteers in our effort to reduce global warming, reduce the carbon footprint, plan for sea level rise and all the rare and threatened animals that are at risk at this. Yet we want to require our staff to drive to the office 3 days a week and always on Wednesdays. I think that's a waste of expensive fuel. That's a waste of our time and talent as professionals. We're increasing pollution. We're putting more nitric and sulfur oxide into the environment, components for acid rain, water chemistry problems. We're putting a lot more vehicles on the road, already onto our crowded streets. So we've been getting a lot of work done. The public has acknowledged that. Upper management has acknowledged that. The board has seen that. And I would really ask that our board members direct our management staff to work collaboratively with our union folks to provide a policy of telecommuting that embraces this great agency and its environmental leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Sean Connolly, you have 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Sean Conley. I'm the Trails Coordinator at the district. My colleagues have already listed so many great thoughts, but I still wanted to express my concern for the proposed change to the telecommute program. Those of us able to have shown how professional and productive we can be when working remotely. Management has even said so. This change in policy seems to to be more about control and power than it is about productivity and effectiveness. I would like to push the staff and the board to look and preserve our current telecommute policy and make something that works for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Ross Mitchell, 2 minutes.
Thank you. Hello, President Coffey, other members of the board. Appreciate you listening to all of the ASME members and their concerns today. When we met with the district today, it was very disappointing that the proposal that was passed to us had no substantive changes from the district's initial proposal on this revised telework policy. They maintained their position on all issues and really only made changes along some grammar and clarification of wording on practices that were not in dispute. This is not what good faith bargaining looks like. The district isn't meeting their obligations to work with their labor partners to create policies and working conditions that are beneficial to both the district, the employees, and the taxpayers who we serve. It's also disappointing that this is the first time that management is really hearing from our employees. At no point has there been any outreach on the district's part to ask employees what their opinions of the telework agreement that was negotiated back a year ago, how it was, what it was doing, if there were problems. We haven't had the district reach out to the union with any issues, despite the fact that we meet regularly with the head of HR. We haven't heard any discipline, not even a counseling memo for any productivity issues related to telework. All these changes seem to be arbitrary, rooted in control and distrust, and really the desire for some members of the executive team to create, a fiefdom where they rule with monarchical power and no oversight. We really don't understand why the district's afraid of oversight through the grievance procedure. The district's missing an opportunity to actually be leaders, and they continue to not be able to answer the questions of what productivity measures ASME hasn't met since the institution of telework, and only give vague notions to ideas of teamwork being affected by not being in the office. But again, we've heard from our employees today that we've been collaborating effectively while utilizing telework. So like the rest of my ASME colleagues, I urge the board of directors to instruct district management to actually be a leader, which means not sitting in the middle of the pack, not justifying every decision based on what other agencies are doing, and maximize teleworking to the fullest extent possible.
Thank you. Christina Parkinson, you have 2 minutes, ma'am.
Thank you, Director Coffey and all the rest of the board of directors for allowing us to speak. When COVID hit and we all got sent home, obviously it was really shocking and scary, and I appreciate the Park District taking care of us at that time. And as we slowly began to figure out ways to do our work from home, I am a naturalist at Sisson, by the way. At the time, I was at Coyote Hills, and I was a supervisor, admin, and naturalist all at the same time. I was using my own equipment to do my job, and I was definitely doing more than 40 hours a week remote at that time. And I think that all of us gave 100% plus of ourselves to make the Park District keep running, keep providing school programs. And now we're asking that we have proven to be successful and productive at home to be allowed to continue to do that. A one size fits all does not work for every site. We only at Sonol, we have 1 day a week agreement. And if we have school programs scheduled or in-person meetings, we need to be there. We don't take our day of the week for work from home. We come in and do our jobs. And we are asking that we let staff and our supervisor determine what works for us at our site. The district is always looking to attract a diverse and talented workforce. Clearly, what people are looking for is remote work or at least a hybrid situation. If you want to attract people, you've got to provide that opportunity for them. And as others have said, we're an environmental agency. Less commuters equals less carbon footprint and emissions. Someone also mentioned less sick time. In the last 2.5 years, I've called in sick half a day. I haven't had a cold in 2.5 or the flu in 2.5 years. And that's due to a flexible work environment and not being stuck in a tiny office with people who are sick. I've seen very happy coworkers who feel valued and cared about, being able to continue to work from home and feel like the district is supporting them. With this proposed change, I really see a difference in morale. And that's unfortunate, and it can be fixed, and you can still continue to support and show the Ask Me workers that you really do value the work that we're doing by doing good faith bargaining and allowing us to continue our work from home agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Matthew James, you have 2 minutes, sir. Matthew? Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there you
Sorry.
go.
Hello.
Okay.
Good afternoon, President Coffey, esteemed members of the board, General Manager Landreth, and all Park District staff. My name is Matthew James, and I am the Administrative Analyst in Finance and Management Services. I also have the privilege of serving as the Sergeant of Arms for AFSCME Local 2428. I'm speaking today about the sunsetting of the current telecommute policy and the replacement policy being proposed by executive staff. I would better like to understand what problem we are trying to solve by changing the current telecommute policy. Based on my personal experience, my observations, and studies that I have read, employees with flexible work schedules are more productive and happier overall. This unnecessary change has the potential to exacerbate the already unacceptably high level of attrition at the Park District, and it will make it much more difficult to recruit good candidates whom are looking for a flexible work environment. Additionally, many aspects of management's proposal seem unrelated to telecommuting and are unnecessarily punitive in nature. So again, I would like to better understand what exactly is the problem we are trying to solve with this new telecommute policy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ari Suzuki?
Thank you. I actually have my statement as well as a coworker who is sick today and couldn't, well, she's at Kaiser and couldn't be on today to read her statement. Should I read both of them, one after the other?
I'm going to let you do the first one, do the one on, and then the other one is from, I think it was the young lady that wanted to talk about DEI.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's do the DEI one after you do your telecommute, because we have a couple more people.
Great. Good afternoon. My name is Ari Suzuki, and I am a reservation support tech at the district, meaning I actually love data, and I'm the co-chair of AFSCME Local.
Ari,
Yes.
your sound is really muffled.
Oh, sorry. Is this better?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I apologize for that. Let me start over so you can actually hear me.
Okay.
So, good afternoon. My name is Ari Suzuki, and I am the reservation support tech at the district, meaning I actually love data. And I am also co-chair of AFSCME Local 2428's Workforce Diversity Committee, the WDC, where I can work on my passion for diversity, equity, and inclusion. The district says that an environmental ethic guides all of your decisions and that you value diversity, equity, and inclusion. Members of Local 2428 have long been catalysts and partners in moving us all forward in these mission goals. And our work together has allowed the district to win some awards recently in both fields. However, the direction the district is pursuing on telework is detrimental in so many ways to these goals. Others have already spoken eloquently in asking more people to drive goes against the district's stance on being leaders in fighting climate change. I want to add that each commute segment is a multiplicative factor in worsening traffic, meaning that each additional car causes all cars to be in worse traffic, and it increases idling, which is the most adverse part of internal combustion engines. Making telework less available makes the district look less committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because since case levels have continued to ever higher peaks, telling your staff to gather indoors all day makes us all less safe. Again, each additional person each day that we are in close proximity to each other is not merely an additional increase in risk, but multiplies our risk for each of us. This additional risk, especially for staff that have additional health risks or have family and community that are at higher risk, discourages diversity and reduces equity and inclusion. Having fewer people in the office means we can distance easier, meaning we can reduce risk to each of us. When you prioritize the ability to drive to a communal work location over being able to get the work done, it is ableist. People should be able to get and keep a job based on their work performance, not on how they get there. When you say that people must always be on camera for all meetings, it is akin to telling everybody that they must sit in the front row of every physical meeting. Not everybody does well in that setting and sends things to those that work optimally in that position.
Barry, that's your time.
Thank you.
And you can send me the rest on an email. We'll come back to you.
Okay.
Rolf Morris, I apologize if I mispronounced your name.
Not at all. That's fine.
Okay.
I am speaking today in support of AFSCME with regards to the telecommute. I would also like to express my support and solidarity for those who have spoken about the DEI surveys and initiatives. With regards to the telecommute, I feel that the management's response towards AFSCME, it's understandable for them to bring a policy that they have thought of and crafted to AFSCME. What is saddening and disheartening is the fact that their responses have resulted in little to no substantive change, despite trying to have a dialogue with AFSCME. Plenty of the members of the East Bay Regional Parks District have spoken. We've listened from naturalists, from graphic designers, from surveyors, all different jobs, each with wildly different requirements for their time, for the level of work, for the amount of time that they need to be at a computer, wherever that computer is. And so to have a one-size-fits-all policy that is this punitive, that again, the discussion of having to be there on Wednesdays and only up to 2 days a week, that is a best case scenario for a telecommuting person. And many of the employees won't even be able to access that is what you have to ask for from management under the proposed changes. And I would understand if there was some thought behind management's proposals here, but I feel that it is incredibly short-sighted, not just in terms of the wide sweeping arbitrary nature of it, but that even something like the Wednesdays isn't thought forward. Plenty of the employees were hired during the pandemic and don't necessarily have dedicated desks in the building. Asking for everybody to be on site on Wednesday isn't just asking for everybody to be there, but you're going to have a scramble of trying to find places to fit everyone trying to be there all on one day. The building may have capacity for everyone to pick which days they're in the office and which days they're not for those that are doing a hybrid work. But to have a single day, you don't have the capacity for a surge of employees, and you will have reduced efficiency, to say nothing of the increased COVID risks for numbers that are on the rise still. That as much as many people like to pretend that the pandemic is over, we are still wearing our masks. There are still cases, there's still transmission, there are still people dying from this. And if there's anything that they can do, an employee who has COVID is the least efficient employee that you have, regardless of how they perform telework.
Thank you, Rolf.
for your time.
You can just send me an email. Then we're going to circle back. We're going to do Dawn, Allison, Ari, Rod, PJ, and then Kelly.
My name is Dawn Stevenson, and I'm reading this statement on behalf of Erica Stevens, a naturalist at the district. We as a district have proven that we can not only fully only fulfill the district's mission, but exceed it while maximizing the use of teleworking. After piloting the first virtual school programs from home and by training the district in digital learning during July of 2020, Erica led the way for the continuation of educational opportunities while teleworking. This shift to digital learning has significantly expanded the communities we serve past Alameda and Contra Costa counties to now include audiences virtually around the world. This expansion of our virtual audience range while telecommuting also contributes to our goals of reaching diverse audiences. While telecommuting and offering virtual school programming, interpretation and recreation departments have succeeded in reaching over 24,000 students in 2020 and 2021. We have shown over these past pandemic years that we have exceeded expectations while telecommuting. We as employees of the district are fully capable of providing exceptional customer service and conducting meaningful opportunities for the public while utilizing teleworking to the maximum extent. Erica strongly encourages the board of directors to take action by instructing management to follow the district's mission and create a policy that maximizes the benefits of teleworking. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Allison, and then Ari.
Hello, thank you. Again, good afternoon, Board of Directors. My name is Allison Roeff. I'm the District Rangeland Specialist and AFSCME 2024-28 member. I'm here today to ask for transparency and communication on the district's DEI study conducted in March of 2021. 66% of employees filled out the survey and participated in focus groups to share their experiences working in the district. Management has not reported back any results nor next steps in this project, which is very concerning to me. The DEI study is important because it captures the work experiences of all staff from all departments of the district. The culture and experiences vary amongst departments. As employees, we want all of our experiences to be heard. We want a more healthy and positive workplace for all. We want to hire and retain diverse staff and to work positively with our diverse public. There are certainly ways that we are already doing this, but there's also so many more ways we can and need to improve. It is important that employees feel and actually are heard in our experiences. I believe we all have the desire to make positive changes in our workplace. We need leadership to move on this. Thank you for your time and work on this project thus far. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So Ari, Rod, PJ, Kelly, and then I just see Meadow. So Ari, for your second comment for your friend, Carolyn, and then PJ, Rod, and Meadow, and Kelly. I'll call you again. Ari.
Hi, my name is Ari. So sorry, I didn't realize you were calling me at first.
Sorry.
I am reading this for Carolyn Crusoe, who could not be here today because of medical procedure. So good afternoon. My name is Carolyn Crusoe. I am a park ranger and an AFSCME 2428 and WDC member. I'm here today, just like I was at last meeting, to repeat what I and many others have asked for many months, for transparency all around the district's DEI study that was done in March of 2021, which is nearly a year and a half ago. As a quick refresher to the topic for anyone first hearing about this, the WDC has been asking management for many years for the district to hire an outside agency to survey and assess the park district's organizational culture and climate as an employer pertaining to DEI, or diversity, equity, and inclusion. Last spring, along with many other organizations beginning the hard work of assessing their workplace with this lens, management stepped up to the plate. Thank you so much. Thank you to management for taking that step. BCT was hired for $100,000 to conduct anonymous surveys and follow-up focus groups of park staff. In our understanding, by now there was to have been a report, the formation of a strategic planning committee and strategic plan with actions and measurable outcomes. 17 months have passed since the assessment took place. However, we have heard crickets. Why have we not received even preliminary review of the findings? I have to wonder, is this because responses were not as positive as you may have hoped? To reiterate, we are asking for a summary of the findings and a timeline for the next steps of the project. VCT is a highly reputable agency who I would imagine did their work within their timeline given the cost of the project. Management, why can you not share the timeline with us? Why can you not hold up your end? We cannot move towards this work without you taking the next step. We want to work with you as a team to assess and improve our workplace. We are here for that sole reason. There is nothing selfish in this work. There's no ego in this work. The sole purpose of this group is to promote a diverse, equitable, and healthy working environment. This work is also tiring.
That's the time.
Do this in our free time on top of our, okay.
That's your time. Just send me the email on that. We're going to go to, I think, Rod, PJ, Kelly, and Meadow. Rod Palmquist, PJ, then Kelly.
Can I turn my video on?
Yeah, you should be able to turn it on right now.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Rod Palmquist. I'm speaking again regarding the telecommute policy. I do not believe the board has been given the honest story of what's going on. I'm going to call things out as they are. The district's decision to sunset AFSCME's telecommute agreement is a power trip by the assistant general managers. No more, no less, and that's the truth. The district's AGM team has a toxicity problem. It is an open secret that there are continual dysfunction among all of the AGMs. There are gray areas in reporting relationships, including with some AGMs reporting to you as the board, and Sabrina Landreth is not empowered to rein in rogue AGMs. Specifically, Jim O'Connor and Deborah Ocker are the epicenter of these problems. They have acted arbitrarily in mostly denying telecommute agreements, and they are where the bulk of AFSCME's grievances are.
I think someone muted him.
I don't know why.
You're still being
There
muted.
is a concern that they're making personal attacks against staff. It's up to you, President Coffey.
I haven't made it. I'm a member of the public that's entitled to speak.
Rod, I'm just getting some objections from staff that you're getting focused on individuals instead of the topic. And I'm going to let you say what you want to say.
Thank you.
But I just wanted you to know that it doesn't necessarily advance dialogue to do that.
I think it's important for you to hear what I have to say, and I appreciate you letting me proceed. I believe the Park District is better than this. I implore the board to dig deeper on this issue and listen to the feedback of all the frontline staff who make these parks work, not the AGMs who are 50,000 feet removed from the front lines. Empower your general manager to rein in the rogue AGMs and tell management to shift its course on this telecommute policy. The AGMs may or may not get their way in the short run, but this will ultimately be a Pyrrhic victory if they do. The district will lose staff who will leave, but more than this, employees have a long memory and AFSCME members will not forget what happens with telecommute now when we negotiate again in the future. Management's actions today only underscore our members' belief that we should not trust the district, and the only way to bargain permanent binding agreements is with the threat of withholding our labor by going on strike. Don't sow the seeds of future discord. Please instruct management's team to change their positions to be more in line with our existing letter of agreement, specifically reversing their positions on non-grievability, spyware, arbitrary Wednesday bans, and hard caps of 2 days per week, among other inflexible stances. Thank you.
Thank you. PJ, Kelly, and then Meadow. PJ.
Good afternoon, Board of Directors, GM, management, public, and fellow union members. My name is PJ Leggett, and I am an IS support technician at the district for about 18 or plus years. I am out sick today, so I'm calling in. But everyone I'm speaking to pretty much knows me on the board or management, either because I've been here a long time, or I've helped many of you with your computer and your phones at some point. With that said, this is the first time you've seen or heard me speak up in this manner before today. I tend to go with the flow, keep my head down and do my work. I'm speaking today because this is important. It's important to me, it's important to others, and it's important on many levels. The shelter in place hit, we were all sent home. We all came together and kept the parks running and open and did whatever we could to make this happen, because that was important to the public, to the parks, and to us, even while having to learn all of this new ways of communicating via technology immediately. When it became a little safer to start coming back into the office, the union and management agreed on a telecommute schedule. And in that agreement, it was said that it could be modified after a year if it wasn't working out, but it's changing. And that's why I'm speaking today. We haven't heard of anything not working out from it. We've been told by management and praised in public for the great job we've done keeping everything going, and they appreciate us. So then why, when the cases of COVID are so high and increasing still daily, higher than even in the beginning, some reports say, they are changing it and making us come back into the office even more? Our mission at the district is healthy parks and healthy people, but does that only apply to the public people? Healthy people doesn't just mean physically, it's mentally as well, which we all know the world is in dire need of already. We've done the work in the hardest of times, and we're still doing it now. Most healthcare employees aren't even back in the office yet, not even hybrid, because they understand the toll we've all been through over the last few years. Mental health is important. The district is striving to make the planet a better place with no more plastic, solar power, down to even using wooden forks to eat with. So I ask, why put more cars on the road, more road damage, more traffic, and most of all, far more pollution in the air, damaging what we are trying to protect? I don't even have to say anything about the gas prices. Hybrid meetings are happening now daily. They once were the future, but now they're every day. Why would we go backwards now? We also, it's also more able for public to be involved because of the size of the area we cover in driving and traffic. People get more involved because they can. And most importantly, the work is still getting done. I've heard many people say that the board does what management tells them to do. I don't believe that. I believe the board cares and does what's right for the parks, for the future, and for the employees that keep them going. So I'm asking the board of directors to please instruct management to follow the district's mission of healthy people and either leave what is already agreed upon in place or create a policy that maximizes the benefits of teleworking for all employees. Thank you very much for your time. Stay safe.
Thank you. Kelly Avery, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm having trouble here wrapping my head around these issues. If the issue is coronavirus, I guess last I heard was everywhere, and people can catch it anywhere. And the solution is not Zoom or teleconferencing. The solution is, I guess, logically speaking, mandatory vaccines. But of course, the unions don't want it and the management doesn't want to impose it. But let's not talk about that. But vaccines are the solution, not whatever, some mass or whatever, other measures. And then as far as the idea of where the offices are going to be overcrowded, the fundamental basis of this is that there's a lot of people who are not in the office for one reason or another, telecommuting or whatever. Therefore, the square footage of office space is vastly underutilized. And the challenge for management is, what are you going to do with all that extra space that you just bought and isn't even built yet, across the street, or the spaces in the old traditional Peralta Oaks or wherever these spaces are? How are you going to downsize? And then as far as 3 days a week, realistically speaking, where I come from, which is Silicon Valley, they're only talking about 2 days a week is the employer's goal over there. So I guess you're very optimistic. You have great goals and ambitions. And then as far as telecommunications, I'd like to know how these 100 people even found this meeting. I went to the agenda. I couldn't find the details for how to get into this meeting on the agenda. I had to beg for it on email. Do you guys have a system for communicating? For telecommunications is supposed to comply with legal requirements. This meeting right here, right now, today has broken every legal requirement you can imagine because nobody can find it. And it's not listed on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me, Meadow Darcy.
Hello, my name is Meadow Darcy. I'm an administrative analyst here at the Park District, and I am in my home office today. And I just wanted to kind of give you a picture of what my home office looks like and why I like working at home. So all of this equipment you see here, I purchased myself. I did that as soon as we went into the pandemic because I wanted to make sure that I was productive and focused on my work and getting things done in a professional manner. The best part about my office, number one, is my headphones. So since working from home, I started putting my headphones on and playing my favorite music, and it really helps me to concentrate. My job at the Park District is to work on permits, encroachment permits. And when I do that, there's a lot of sort of documents that you have to pull together, and you can really get distracted easily. So I found that while I actually really liked working in the office, when I was sort of forced to be home during the pandemic, I found that having those headphones on really helped me concentrate a lot more. And now even when I'm in the office, I have my headphones on because I'm much more productive. And so I was really grateful for the opportunity to work from home and learn about what skills make me more productive as an employee. One of the other great features I have about my home office is this window right here. So when I am at my office in the main office, there is very little sunlight, and we are all in cubicles, and it's a very small space, and there's no fresh air, and there's no direct sunlight. And so coming here in the morning and pulling up the shades and just having that, it really makes me feel like I'm able to be outdoors. And so I feel like I'm working outdoors. Sometimes when I'm in the office, I'll go downstairs and work outdoors just so I can have that fresh air feeling. But what happens is that with this new policy that's coming forward is there's really a lack of flexibility. So because of the situation that we're in even now, with the days having to go through so many approvals, there's times when I'm in the office and it just doesn't make sense. I have to go to a conference room and I sit in the conference room for most of the day because I have meetings where other people are on Zoom and I can't hear. So it doesn't really make sense to me to make a less flexible policy, one that has so many levels of approval that I cannot even work with my supervisor to adjust. Even coming here today with all of the bumps in the road with the closed session and then with this one, I've had to adjust my schedule multiple times, and I've worked with my supervisor directly to do so. If I had to go all the way up to the AGM level, I would never be able to get anything done because I wouldn't be able to be flexible to be more productive.
It's your time, Meadow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dennis Cowboy, that's our last speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Callboy. I'm an admin analyst at the Park District, and I just wanted to emphasize that to the board that we should push for a fair and more flexible telecommute agreement as opposed to the one that's presented by management. Being able to spend 3 hours a day less commuting and being able to work from home, especially when I'm sick, like a day like today where I'm out due to actual COVID, I was still able to work. The extra time has allowed me to spend time preparing healthy meals for myself and my family, being able to exercise. I'm currently, during this telecommute agreement we have in place right now, I've benefited immensely from the health benefits of a better work from home and life balance. I've lost over 150 pounds. I'm no longer on heart medications. And I don't believe that I'm the only one that physically and mentally have had improvements to myself. I believe other employees here at the Park District that have enjoyed this telecommute agreement at the moment have benefited in those aspects as well. So I just wanted to emphasize that there truly is health and mental benefits, and I'm one of those examples. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. I hope you're getting better. And thank you for the input. I don't see any more hands up.
No, President Coffey.
I want to say obviously we are in a new era. We're not going back to pre-COVID workforce or workplace systems. And like a lot of organizations, we're struggling to where we want to be and where we want to go. And I don't think there is, or that I've sensed any personal motivations or bad faith. So that, I don't see that as being anything underlying this. There are different reasonable rationales as to how we should be conducting our workspaces and our workforces, and different organizations are coming up with different ideas. We're looking very carefully at our sister agencies that we have historically relied on when measuring our comparable compensation and benefits. And this benefit will be viewed in terms of what our sister agencies that we've historically relied on are themselves doing, so that we have an idea of the competitive nature of remote workforces and those of the agencies that we compete with for employees or retaining employees. I heard lots and lots of really good questions, and certainly informed me, and I've written a bunch of them down in terms of justifications and what is this and what is that in terms of the proposed policies. And I have no doubt that the board and individual board members collectively and as individuals will be following up on a lot of these questions, so that we ourselves are well informed and educated on what our management is proposing and what are the parameters of where we can go. I'm fairly sure that management itself has heard these numerous questions and the positive nature of the questions, and certainly the positive benefits of telecommuting are manifest, and management will be taking this feedback, getting back to us as members of the board, and certainly to everyone in our workforce, because these are legitimate questions and concerns. We felt this input was tremendously important to hear. I was sorry I had to cut it back to 2 minutes, but we did effectively sacrifice our meeting for the rest of the afternoon in order to get all this in. And it's just reflective of what was important. We had a couple of board members, one for a variety of conflicts have had to drop off the meeting. So we no longer have a quorum, and we knew that was going to happen.
Yes, you do.
Who's there?
You have a quorum. I'm here.
Oh, you're still there. I was told you had to drop off.
I do have to drop off once you're done talking, but I won't be able to stay for the rest. But I wanted to be able to stay and listen to all the good
And you
things
heard
and
my
important
summary,
things that were being said.
and
Sorry?
I'm sure you agree that it was important to hear these folks out, even though we have
Yes,
the
absolutely. That's why I'm
time
here.
constraints this afternoon. So there are some things we're going to have to come back and work on, both on consent and on our regular agenda. But I appreciate, Ellen, that you hung in there to hear how we're resolving our meeting issues this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. General Manager, anything to add in terms of logistics?
No, President Coffey, as you mentioned, we are about to lose quorum. So we do have some time-sensitive items that are on the agenda that require approval before your next regularly scheduled meeting. So we will pull the board and come up with a time where we can have a special meeting that satisfies the needs for those approvals.
I appreciate it. That, August is a tough time to get meetings together. We reduce it to one meeting. Still, we're starting off with a couple of board members on well-deserved vacations this month, and we generally target our vacations for August. So if we can find a date for critical items and take care of those, I'm sure that we'll all make ourselves available.
We
So
will find
appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah, thank you.
So is it appropriate to adjourn the meeting, Council?
Absolutely,
All right. And again, thank you for all the feedback. We're glad we could be available and get it all in. The meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.